2-track and then 3-track, and you know, and as you know, things picked up, and he was good friends with Les Paul, who invented the overdub and the multi-track recording. And Al was a god of the engineers, and he taught me how to listen to stuff. And he was old school, where he'd go out of this side, he'd move the microphone, because the sound is there. You just got to find the sweet spot. Well, most of these guys plug in 3 things and a gain, and you know, and it's EQ and all that stuff. It's not what you do. The old school guys,
yes, sure,
they don't know about that. I remember a dear friend of Al's and a client of mine, great engineer, Ed Cherney was his name. Great engineer. And his line was, I'll never forget, we're doing a Little Feat record, and this guy comes in, he had this new equalizer, and he wanted him to use it. And Cherney goes, EQ's for pussies. You had to be there.
Sure, sure. Well, he wanted to use his new equipment, his new
right.
I said, no, we're going with what we've been doing.
And I learned the same thing with the brass drums too. And a lot of them, Keltner taught me this trick. All the Ludwig Superphonics and that, if you look, the shell comes up and then it goes like this. All right, well, there's this air gap in there where all the old school brass drums comes around.
Right,
That's
yes.
not there. That's what Keltner would do. And I stole this trick from him in the old days. And he actually told me, he'd take a fan belt from a car. Well, a fan belt's shaped like this, so when it goes in the pulley, right, and it's flat on the outside, so he would put that, glue that in.
Yeah, because it would marry up just perfectly in there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he was one of Jeff's dear friends and one of Jeff's irons. You know, it's great, man.
It's amazing.
What can you say? But he taught me that trick. And I just, you know, I picked up all these tricks from all these guys I worked with. Russ Conkle was very good. One of the sweetest guys ever made. And he taught me some tuning stuff. And Gerry Brown was great to me. And when I started building my snare drums, I had 5 of them. And my brother had lent me $3 grand and I bought a van. This is 75 or something. And I got a call from Don Henley. And, I heard about your drums, blah, blah, blah. I'm great. No? He says, we're rehearsing in Malibu at Don Felder's house.
Oh, sure.
So I went there. So I had 5 of my snare drums. We come in at Walsh and it's in the band. I'm digging it. And they're all sunburst and they all played sunburst. And they're digging it.
And really at that point, you don't see any drums in this finish at all.
No, now everybody does.
No.
I was first.
Yeah, you're the first,
So anyways, so Henley's playing on the stuff. Sounds, here, check this. I showed him the different sizes and everything. So I got all 5 laying out and he's playing them. And I go, well, what do you think? And Henley goes, all right, I'll take this one, that one, and that one. And at the time, I was charging $500. $500 for a snare drum in 1975.
You could buy a Volkswagen Bug for that.
Exactly.
Running good, that is.
Yeah, or pretty much a drum kit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was outrageous, you know. And Henley goes, yeah, I'll take this one, that one, and that one. And at first I thought, wow, I can pay my brother back.
Right. For
The first thing went to my head. Then I thought, well, wait a minute. If he buys up most of my inventory, and I had appointments with Nick Fleetwood and Keltner and Conkle and all these guys, and I said to him, I go, well, if I sell you almost all my shit, I don't got anything to sell to anybody else. And he goes, I'll never forget this. He goes, well, my money's as green as theirs. And I'm like, yeah, but, you know.
So you're kind of at the crossroads here, right?
I'm trying to get my business going.
Right, sure,
out there. I said, I'll make you do. And they're going to Miami to do the long run out.
Huge.
And I said to him, I go, if you use my drums on the album, I want an album. His drum to Tony Davies goes off. Who the fuck do you think? I've been working for this band for 15 years and I never got my name on the album. Blah, blah, blah. No, and he's like flipping out.
Yeah.
I look at Don, I'm like, call your boy up. He's like, relax.
Yeah.
So Henry goes, yeah, it don't cost me nothing. Right. So they go to Bayshore in Miami, and Sam Zick was a producer and engineer. And I get a call about a week later. Oh, the snare drums are great, man. You know, I'm using them. He says, do you got any drums? Any drum kit? I go, yeah, I got my Mudley thermal ones, blah, blah, blah. Rocket car comes, picks them up. I can't remember, I think it was $350 a week. They had them for 7 months. Okay.
So that paid a few bills.
Tell me about it.
But you had to buy some more drums, because
Exactly.
those are out there
Exactly.
for
I
7
started
months.
buying up Gretsch drums.
Mm-hmm.
So I fixed up a kit for Jeff. Jeff wanted a Gretsch kit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 24-inch bass drum, and I did a cherry sunburst with it was a 12, 13, 16 floor and a 24-inch bass drum.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a 22-inch guy. And he liked the bass drum, he liked the 22 better. And I did them in cherry sunburst. And what I did was the toms, I had the head, I had red into the yellow. Then the bass drum was yellow into the red. So the whole thing together
nice.
made a sunburst. And the floor tom had red top and bottom in the snare drum. But when you looked at it from a distance, the whole thing made a sunburst.
It all flowed together.
Exactly. So he used my boss's tour. We did tour for his album Middleman,
Mm-hmm.
which David Foster produced, great record. And smoking band. It was Jeff, his brother Mike on bass. Randy Kerber was one of the keyboard players, was a big movie guy. There was Lukather, Mike Landau, Scott Shelley, had 3 guitar players, Lenny, horn section, and Paulette and Vanetta Fields, and this big tall black dude with the highest voice ever, Billy Thedford, was from Chicago. And it was just smoking out. I mean, I was so proud to be part of that scene. And every night before the band went on stage, we all held in and said a prayer, and you knew the band was going to kick ass and not take any prisoners. And smoking band, and it was great. And we opened a bunch of shows for the Eagles and Fleetwood Mac stadium shows.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Miller played before us.
Oh, wow.
And he had 2 guys in a Ryder truck, right? And they played for 30 minutes, and they were gone. But that was my first stadium gigs, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to jump all over the place, but when I worked for Rare Earth, they played at the California Jam.
Oh, gosh.
It was at the Ontario Speedway. And it was Earth, Wind and Fire,
Mm-hmm.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Black Oak, Arkansas.
Sure, yeah.
So, some 250,000, 300,000
It's huge,
people.
huge
It was
concert.
ridiculous. Right? So, they had us go to a Holiday Inn in Pomona, and they helicoptered us in. So I'm in the helicopter, looking out the window, and here's 250,000, and I'm 22 years old, and I'm like, this is me.
Yeah.
And I had one of those, you know, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. The aha moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it was all good, and I feel very blessed, and I'm very I'm grateful for all the work that I got, and the people that I work for, and the engineers and the producers too, because it's a team. It's not just,
sure.
you know, you show up and make a record. It's like on the Motown Standing in the Shadows video.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking to one of the drummers, Uriel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting by his drum kit, and he says, yeah, and they talk about the Motown studio, and it was the board, and it was the microphones, and it was the acoustics of the room, and the wood on the floor, and the food. And he goes, I'd like to see somebody throw a bunch of like barbecue in there and make a record.
Yes. Amazing.
No, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And now I'm retired, and all that's in my rear view mirror, and now I'm sitting there talking to you, talking
That's
about the old
fantastic.
days,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know, now I feel blessed. The catch is, and there's a lot of great moments, and, you know, I went all over the world and saw everything, but now that'll give me a cup of coffee at the homeless mission. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I just
Sure,
like some old, like some old man rambling. No, so
Yeah, but you made incredible friendships, lifelong friendships
a lot of
over
good
the last 50 years.
a lot of good friends in this. I'm 69 years old, so you know, I'm too old to load trucks anymore.
Well, you just brought a bunch of drums into
Yeah,
this,
and
so,
my
yeah.
bag's paying the
That's
price.
okay.
I'll tell you.
So let's talk a little bit about Remo Belly, because I'm sure in all those years you needed a few Remo drum heads.
All right. I didn't really know him well, but the guy's an icon. He was the first guy that all drum heads were calfskin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make these out of plastic. And they laughed at him. Guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Now, he's got the vineyard in San Luis Obispo.
He has his own winery, yes.
And the Leader Jet and all the things. And no, his business, you know, he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I dealt with a guy, Lloyd Mccarthy, who is, you know, one of his guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Lloyd was an older guy, and he was always like very cool to me. And then they sponsored Jeff, and they made me one. And I paid, I can't remember, right, less than what you would pay for drumming.
Sure, sure.
And in my business, I'd order 50 14-inch ambassadors and get them all the time and stuff. And my favorite Remo story, I'm with Jeff at the NAMM show, and I can't remember what year it was, but everybody wanted to meet the guy. And for being who he was and the player, monster player that he was like the humblest guy you'd ever meet. And everybody's, oh, you're so great, blah, blah, blah. Oh, thanks. But what about your band? You know, tell me, you know, and he turned this conversation around to the other guy, you know, instead of him.
He was very humble, it sounds like.
Completely. And, you know, he did all these sessions, well, a lot of times it would be a band. And they have Jeff play on and stuff. Well, here's the drummer. And the guy's in the studio, and he's losing a glass like this far, like, you know, watching and stuff. And I noticed now, he would go up to the guy. Hey, I'm Jeff, blah, blah, blah. Look, man, you know the music. And he would get the guy involved.
Sure.
And tell me about this, and tell me about that. And I'm not here to steal your gig.
Right.
I'm here for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so don't be
Wow.
bugged or you know,
Sure,
bugged
sure.
out or anything. So anyways, we're at the NAMM show. And I don't remember what year it was. And we bumped into Lloyd McCausland walking around. He says, oh, you gotta come by the booth. Remo wants to meet you. I'm like, sure, you know. So a couple hours later, oh, Remo, there he is, right? So we walk in the booth. And Lloyd, oh, hey, thanks, we're here. Remo, come here. And he comes over. He goes, this is Jeff Porcaro and his tech, Paul Jamieson. He shakes hands and says, oh, thank you, man. Thanks for being on our team. And Jeff, no, thank you, man. You know, this stuff's great, blah, blah. He says, I got some new invention I want to show you. At the NAMM show, everybody's got this like little office.
Sure, sure. The
hide
secret things
briefcase
in there.
No, you put your briefcase in there and all that stuff. So he comes out. He had a set of bongos. And he said that the shells are made out of compressed paper. And he was making cheap drums with these shells like this. So he said, you check them out. Jeff says, oh, that sounds cool. He goes, yeah, compressed paper. He says, it's cost me $12 to make.
Wow.
Just playing. He goes, how cool, man. He goes, you can go to Guitar Center, buy a pair, go to the beach. He says, play on them all day, get drunk, and at the end, like, throw them in the fire. And Remo's insulted. Okay.
Yeah.
No, and Jeff's like, it's cheap. You know,
Sure,
how
sure.
cool. Yeah. Remo's insulted. You know, but hey, shit happens. You know.
But then he realized, okay, people can buy more bongos, so
Yeah, it's
Boom,
good
boom,
for
right?
business, exactly. It's just flashed into my head when you asked about Remo. I didn't really know the guy, but he was always
Yeah.
nice to me and took care of me, and like I said, he's an icon in the business.
that's great.
You know.